I just had the most embarrassing moment of my entire life. I was in front of everyone, my boss, my whole department, and I completely imploded. I'd been awake all night, chugging coffee, trying to make this presentation perfect. So when a manager asked me one simple question I didn't know the answer to, I panicked. Instead of just saying, "Great question, I'll find out," I tried to lie. It was a rambling, incoherent disaster, and I looked like 1,000 times worse than if I'd just told the truth. For years, I thought showing any weakness was like handing someone a weapon to use against me. My confidence was a fortress, but I didn't realize it was also a prison. What I didn't get was that the key to insane, unbreakable confidence wasn't building my walls higher, but having the guts to tear them all down. I used to think being strong meant you were a machine. That winning at life meant having all the answers, never being afraid, and never letting anyone see you sweat. You've heard this a million times, right? Toughen up, don't be a baby, never let them win. So we wear this heavy, metal armor, thinking it's protecting us. But here's the secret I had to learn the hard way: that armor is exhausting. It's lonely. And what I was calling strength was just a massive fear of anyone seeing who I really was. I was wrong about weakness. And I was 100% wrong about strength. My biggest change didn't happen in one aha moment. It was a slow, painful crack in the fortress I built around myself. It started when one of my best friendships was completely falling apart. She was going through the worst time, and instead of being real with her about my own struggles, I just gave her cheerful, useless advice. I thought I had to be the strong one. Then one night, she just looked at me and said, "It's like I'm talking to a wall. I don't need you to fix it. I just need a real person." Those words hit me like a truck. She wasn't asking me to be perfect, she was asking me to be a human. My obsession with seeming strong had created a massive gap between us. I was losing my friend, not because I was weak, but because I was pretending to be strong. That single conversation forced me to ask a terrifying question: what if my greatest weakness wasn't my flaws, but how desperately I was trying to hide them? This question sent me down a rabbit hole, and I started reading research from people like Brené Brown. She defines vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. It's not weakness, it's the ultimate measure of courage. I realized I wasn't being courageous at all. I was just being careful. And careful was costing me everything that mattered. Okay, so taking off the armor. It is not easy. My first few tries at being vulnerable were clumsy and terrifying. I will never forget being in a team meeting and hearing myself say, "I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed by my workload and could use some help prioritizing." My heart was pounding out of my chest. I was sure everyone would think I was a total failure. But instead, my manager just nodded and said, "Thanks for being honest. Let's figure it out." A coworker even messaged me later saying she felt the exact same way. It was a revelation. Admitting I wasn't a superhero didn't push people away, it pulled them in. This is where I discovered the first hidden superpower of vulnerability: radical authenticity. For so long, I had been performing, acting like a guy who had it all together. It was insanely exhausting. The second I started being honest, this huge weight just vanished. Authenticity is dropping the act and just being you. Research literally shows that people who live this way have better health, lower stress, and less depression. When I showed up as my real self, my confidence went through the roof. All the energy I'd been wasting on a fake performance could finally go into actually improving. It turns out, we are drawn to people who are real. It gives everyone else permission to be real too. But being real meant I had to face my actual emotions, which unlocked the second hidden superpower: boosted emotional resilience. We're all taught that emotions like fear and sadness are problems to be solved. But you can't ignore your feelings, that just makes them stronger. Vulnerability means letting yourself feel everything, without judging yourself. When I started just sitting with discomfort, I learned how to process it instead of letting it control me. This is the foundation of emotional resilience. Instead of my feelings hijacking me, I was learning to use them. It gives you this insane core belief that you can handle literally anything life throws at you. The more I did this, the more my life started changing in ways I could never have imagined. That friendship that was about to die, we rebuilt it, and it's now stronger than ever. At work, my relationships became insanely collaborative and trusting. I started feeling a type of self-acceptance that didn't depend on anyone else's approval. My confidence was no longer a shield that could break. It was a flexible, resilient core. And that brought me to the most powerful superpower of all: deeper and breakable connections. Humans are hardwired to connect. It's the entire point. But here's the catch: you cannot have true connection without vulnerability. It's the soil where trust and love grow. When you share your real self, your fears, your screw-ups, you're inviting someone to see the real you. That one move creates a safe space for them to do the same. Think about it. When a friend opens up to you, you don't think they're weak. You feel honored. You feel trusted. Vulnerability is what turns a coworker into a lifelong friend. It's what lets you say "I love you" first, apologize after a fight, or ask for help when you're sinking. Couples who are vulnerable with each other have insanely higher levels of trust and intimacy. Your willingness to be seen doesn't just improve your relationships, it's the only thing that makes them possible in the first place. So how do you actually start when it feels like jumping out of a plane with no parachute? You start small. Here are 3 challenges to get you started. First, get honest with yourself. You can't be real with others if you're lying to yourself. Figure out what you're actually feeling without judgment. Journaling is a great tool for this. When you fail, treat yourself like you'd treat your best friend. You have to accept your own flaws before you can let anyone else see them. Second, start small with safe people. You don't have to spill your guts to a random person. Pick 1 or 2 people you trust 100%: a partner, a friend, a therapist. Start by sharing something that feels just a tiny bit risky. Instead of just saying "I'm fine," try "I had a really rough day." See what they do. When they meet you with support, it gives you the courage to level up next time. Third, be clear about what you need. This is a secret power move. It's saying things like, "Hey, I just need you to listen right now," not offer solutions, or "I need a little space to figure this out." Telling people what you need isn't weakness, it's an act of authenticity that builds incredible relationships where everyone feels respected. For most of my life, I ran from vulnerability. I thought it was a weakness that would destroy me. But I've learned it's the complete opposite. Vulnerability is the source of our greatest strengths. It's where authenticity is born, where resilience is forged, and where we find the insane human connection we all want. Choosing to be vulnerable is an act of pure courage. It's about showing up and letting people see you, even when you have zero control over the outcome. But the rewards, the deep relationships, the quiet confidence, and the freedom to just be yourself are so worth the risk. That fortress I built didn't just protect me, it kept all the good stuff out. Tearing it down was the scariest, and the absolute best, thing I have ever done. So I am challenging you. What is one small way you can practice being vulnerable this week? Maybe it's telling a friend how you're really feeling, or admitting you don't have the answer in a meeting. Share your plan in the comments below. Your story might just give someone else the courage they need to start.